What's up, everybody? If you want to join the greatest online Star Wars community, the Fandom Menace, make sure you hit that subscribe button before today's video starts, so you don't miss out on any updates and you're always the first to know when our newest videos go live.
The following is a world-class Bullshitters exclusive.
Captain Marvel has the distinction of being the most groundbreaking film in the history of cinema, because it is 100% the exact film that is portrayed in the trailer. If you found it bland and unoriginal, well then congratulations, because you've just seen the film in its entirety. The conversation surrounding Captain Marvel's release was compelling because it was never about the film. It was never about Marvel. It was never about advancing the brand. The conversation surrounding Captain Marvel's release was about forced societal change, pandering, and an untrustworthy media. Since that first trailer dropped many months ago, there was an impending sense of doom surrounding Captain Marvel, and any time anyone spoke out of line, they were called the usual string of useless insults by stupid people. Now that Captain Marvel is out, the conversation surrounding it should be about the quality of the film, but the same empty-headed people who have a small stockpile of low-caliber insults like the overused sexist, etc., want to corral it, the conversation about Captain Marvel's merits as a film, to be about something else in an attempt to control the public's perception, i.e. the narrative. They want it to be about the angry man-babies, which, by the way, shouldn't we be calling them fan-babies, because women didn't like this movie either, and we don't want to leave the ladies out, do we? No, that would be sexist. Critically, Captain Marvel falls around a 64 out of 100 on Metacritic, which is fine. Well, here on this channel, we gave it a solid 5 out of 10. It failed to capture our imaginations, show us something new and original, or entice us for more Captain Marvel. Literally every other MCU film made us interested in the titular character or characters to the point where we went out of our way to learn more about them. Captain Marvel left us indifferent at best. It had a weak story, forgettable characters, retconned the MCU, and relied too heavily on 90s nostalgia, which all of us here on the channel lived through. And all Captain Marvel did was make us thankful that the internet speeds have vastly improved. You see how it's quite easy to critique the movie's flaws without mentioning Brie Larson's gender, comments, or behavior prior to this film's release? Yeah, real easy, because it's not a good film, and on this channel we always rate a film on its merits, or lack thereof. We don't play softball. Too bad that's not the case for other media outlets. Rotten Tomatoes, the internet equivalent of a cesspool, aka a disgusting or corrupt place, has been at the center of the Captain Marvel controversy for the last few weeks. First, they took away the ability for fans to show their interest in a film, a feature there since the beginning. They claimed it was being abused, but was it? Can you really hurt a film by saying that you're not interested in it? I'm going to say no, but it's like when your server at a restaurant tells you about a survey and only 100% count. Either way, your right to voice your opinion was stripped away because of corporate interests. Since the release of the film, there's been a flood of reviews for Captain Marvel. At the time of this recording, Captain Marvel sits at 80% critic score, with top critics giving the film an average of 6.27 out of 10, and the fan score of 57%. You know, I'd be damned if that number doesn't sound a bit fishy. I could have sworn it was much lower. Because it was! On Friday, March 8th, the audience score was sitting at a whopping 31%, with over 58,000 votes. A few hours later, 53,786 were deleted, bumping the audience score up an astonishing 5%. What's not interesting, scratch that, what's not surprising is the fact that there's an excuse for that. Comicbook.com had this to say. In addition to becoming a tremendous financial success, it's possible that Captain Marvel can add another accomplishment to its name, which would be rendering audience ratings on Rotten Tomatoes completely useless. The film has seen the site undergo various updates to its format, with the site noting that the glitch in the system resulted in thousands of negative reviews being attributed to the movie baselessly. Within hours of the film's official landing in theaters, Captain Marvel amassed tens of thousands of reviews from users, which were most negative, resulting in a user score of 35% positive rating. Rotten Tomatoes offered a statement admitting that an error in the functionality on the site resulted in comments posted before the film hitting theaters getting added to the user review score. We launched some changes to the movie pre-release functionality last week, which included not allowing users to leave comments or reviews prior to a movie's release. However, we still invite users to vote if they want to see a movie prior to its release, and that vote total is displayed on the site, the statement shared with The Hollywood Reporter read. Including the comments and reviews posted before the film hit theaters, it earned more than 50,000 comments. For reference, Avengers Infinity War currently has 53,000 ratings after opening nearly a year ago. Prior to the release of Captain Marvel, it became one of the lowest rated entries in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, with visitors noting that many of the comments included sexist remarks. When Rotten Tomatoes noticed this trend and the obvious trolling on the movie's site, they removed the functionality of leaving comments before a film was out. We have identified a bug in the post-release functionality for the movies that have released into theaters since our product update last week, their statement continued. The quantity of user ratings, which was displayed directly below the audience score and is intended to only include the quantity of users who have left a rating or written a review after a movie's release, had included both pre-release and post-release fan voting. Currently, the film is listed as having 7,000 reviews, yet many pages of reviews date all the way back to December of 2018. Captain Marvel has an 81% positive review from critics, and the site is tracking it to earn upwards of $125 million domestically this weekend. A glitch. Convenient. It's blatantly obvious that real people went to Rotten Tomatoes to rate the film after their voices were silenced by an authoritarian website. Rotten Tomatoes brought more hate upon itself by altering the way their site operates at a very convenient time. Remember back in 2017 when the narrative of The Last Jedi's low audience score was Russian bots? And how no one would believe the discrepancy between the audience and the critic score? While I highly doubt that there was a bug in the system to cause a glitch, it's not outside the realm of possibility that attempting to cater to Captain Marvel broke their site. Couldn't have happened to a nicer website. What I don't doubt is Rotten Tomatoes' bias towards Captain Marvel. While they're busy combating sexist trolls that may or may not exist, they're allowing for a much more serious problem to arise on their website because it falls in line with the pro-Captain Marvel sentiment. There's been an outpouring of comments giving the exact same Captain Marvel review. It's glowing, of course, so they, Rotten Tomatoes, don't worry about that. But it shows how broken their site is, both technically and morally. What I find bizarre is how protected Captain Marvel is. The media built it up as the second coming, and fans are picking fights left and right to defend it, but there are a couple of facts that need to be laid out, opinions aside. First off, the box office. It made $155 million opening weekend. Great. Grand. No skin off my ass. What you'll notice is the framing of how its success is being worded. News sites are touting a $455 million opening weekend. That's worldwide. Most movies' opening weekends are listed with the domestic numbers. But this is a Disney movie, and we have to make it look even bigger, even if we don't give you the entire context. If we can take a trip back in time, just like Captain Marvel, you'll notice that we said this about the film's possible performance. In many ways, Captain Marvel feels like a forced edict from Disney that has failed Star Wars and will now fail Marvel. If Captain Marvel fails or disappoints or just doesn't do it for the general audiences, it won't be because men hate women or women hate men. It will be because everything about Captain Marvel feels manufactured. While it sounds like I'm trying to say that the possibility of Captain Marvel failing to live up to the lowered expectations of Scott Mendelsohn will end the MCU's reign, I'm not. Not even close. There's a reason why this movie opens 49 days before Avengers Endgame, and it's not because of International Women's Day. Short term, this movie doesn't matter. Not at all. It's expendable. Long term, it's incredibly important because it sets up for the next phase of the MCU that's apparently going to be led by Captain Marvel. So let's just stop the discussion that this channel said the movie would fail. Thanks for playing. Now let's take a closer look at the numbers. Yes, $155 million is impressive. That achievement can't be taken away, but it also can't be added to unfairly. First off, Captain Marvel opened in more theaters than any MCU film, save for Avengers Infinity War. That already gives it an advantage. Not an unfair one. We're just laying out the facts here. The narrative that Captain Marvel was the little movie that could is quite frankly BS. Captain Marvel opened in nearly 300 more theaters than Black Panther, but it made almost $50 million less. Another fact about Captain Marvel is its day-to-day drops. As you can see, Black Panther dropped 13% from its first day to its second day, and 9% from its second to third. Now if we compare that to Captain Marvel, it drops 14% from its first to second day, and 27% from its second to third. This is relevant because it's an early indicator of the legs of the film. Second weekend drops are always important. It's the weekend that makes or breaks a film. You see, the marketing machine can hype up any movie as the greatest thing ever, but if word of mouth among the general public isn't good, then interest wanes and repeat viewings become less and less likely. It's what happened with Star Wars: The Last Jedi. It made almost $750 million less than its previous film, The Force Awakens. Though its opening weekend was nearly identical, it just goes to show you the power of the people. Just for posterity, let's show you another comic book film that opened even higher than Captain Marvel, but is considered a failure due to its massive box office drop and poor word of mouth. 2016's Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice. BVS opened to a whopping $166 million in its opening weekend. That puts it at number 13 on all-time domestic opening weekends, 5 spots ahead of Captain Marvel. While that was seen as an achievement at the time, what came next is what defined the film's legacy. Bad word of mouth led to a massive 69% box office drop in its second weekend. The film sputtered out rather quickly as Captain America: Civil War loomed on the horizon, and Suicide Squad would go on to embarrass itself out of existence. The opinion of BVS is irrelevant, although we did give the film the same 5 out of 10 score as Captain Marvel. But the claims of Captain Marvel being a guaranteed billion-dollar picture is still premature, given what happened to Batman vs. Superman. Remember, misinformed critics, and I'm playing nice here, also said that $1 billion worldwide for Aquaman was fairy tale land. Look what word of mouth did for that film. Oh, and Jason Momoa. Women really love Jason Momoa. Our good friend Mark Hamill had a poignant remark to make about Hollywood.
Remember, kids, it's not important if it's of high quality, only if it makes money.
There really wasn't a reason I played that clip outside of it's truthful. The reason the title card of this video is what it is because Captain Marvel has done something that no studio, company, or rights holder wants. Split the fan base. For every article out there attempting to dehumanize those with a differing opinion of Captain Marvel, more and more people become disenfranchised and fed up with the MCU. Long-term implications of Captain Marvel are far more devastating than any social media battle, because frank quietly, if this is the quality of filmmaking that one should expect from the MCU going forward, be prepared to be disappointed. And Disney, be prepared to see less returns at the box office once you milk all the firsts. The most devastating weapon to use against Captain Marvel is common sense, and this webcomic sums it up perfectly. The media who hold some social message over the quality of a film lower the bar for what makes a good movie, and it only hurts any cause they may be championing long term. Speaking of hurt, it hurts me to say this name. But Paul Feig is back in the news, trying to make you think that his Ghostbusters movie didn't suck by attacking fans who weren't bowing down to Captain Marvel. Thanks for coming, Paul. Your movie still sucks. Another man who knows about maximum suckage is our orbular pal Rian Johnson. He's taken some time out from writing his massively important Star Wars trilogy to take some shots at folks on Twitter. You know, I got a lot to say about Rian Johnson and Star Wars. Next time. So that's where we are with Captain Marvel currently. We thought the movie was just okay. Not the worst thing ever made, but definitely not the achievement that the media is trying to make it out to be. Which is funny because there's never been a Marvel film that we felt so indifferent towards. I don't think anger is an accurate way to describe our feelings towards Captain Marvel, just disappointment. And that hurts more in the long term of things because it's been an 11-year ride almost at this point of fun and good feeling towards a film franchise, which Captain Marvel is just the first one to make us feel apathetic. But if you liked our review of the film, you can check out the long-form one on the podcast. Maybe don't go see the movie. That's up to you still. But realistically, it's not the savior film that they're trying to make it out to be. What's more important, and interesting at least, is the fact how they're trying to corral the narrative and belittle people, and that's just a problem. You know, you can dislike a movie, you can like a movie. It's very Orwellian at this point. The thought police are coming out in droves to try to make you look bad publicly for not liking a movie. And it's funny, if you go on Facebook, anyone that says the movie was just okay gets railroaded by 5 or 6 weirdos who want to tell you how great it is and how their family loved it. You know what? That's great that your family loved it. It doesn't matter in the long term. And let's put this narrative to bed too. You don't have to go see a movie to decide if you want to go see it. That is the dumbest thing possible. If you're not interested in Captain Marvel based on the trailer, well, that's your prerogative, that's your right, and you don't have to give your money to Disney to make sure that you don't like the film, because they got your money. That's all they care about. They don't care if you like their movies. That's not important. Once your dollars are in their hands, they've won. That's their endgame. Speaking of endgame, if I'm being completely honest, I'm a little less interested in Avengers Endgame because of Captain Marvel. Mainly because I feel like she will be out of place with the current brand of Avengers. You know, this is Iron Man's story, this is Captain America, Thor, Black Widow, and the rest of the group's story. Adding a new player just feels off. Just going off the top of my head, I can't think of any outside of Phase 1 characters, main team Avengers, that weren't introduced in other crossover films. Now, the Guardians of the Galaxy, I don't really consider them Avengers. They're their own separate property. And they've also had 2 films and a lot of popularity to build up that brand. Captain Marvel will be shoehorned into the Avengers too early, in my opinion, because I was really excited to see the Guardians eventually come to Earth and fight alongside the Avengers against Thanos' army. And when we got it, it was awesome, because there was a struggle. You know, the greatest thing about any hero is their struggle, their achievement. You know, Rocky didn't beat Apollo Creed in the first film, but he went the distance, and that's the important part, and that's the great part, and that's why that film won an Oscar. Once Rocky 1, it became less and less interesting. I personally love Rockies 2, 3, and I like 4, 5, and Kiss My Ass. And the rest make it better. But once a hero faces no adversity, I lose interest in the story. Much like Rey from Star Wars, who faces little to no adversity, Captain Marvel just becomes bland and boring. And a lot of people say that you can't make the Wonder Woman comparison when talking about Captain Marvel, but I say you can, because the people out there have made this film about gender, about identity politics. And 2 years ago, that's what they were using to discuss Wonder Woman. But unlike Captain Marvel, Wonder Woman was a damn fine film. Visually interesting, Gal Gadot was a great lead, she came off as a superhero, and she also came off as a superhero in real life. I find it weird and mildly pandering to see Brie Larson out in public serving people popcorn and doing all this stuff. It just seems like a really, really forced PR move. I bet behind the scenes she's hating. But, hey, that's life. So folks, let me know what you thought about Captain Marvel, our review, and the whole situation surrounding the film. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and share it all over social media. If you're a fan of this channel, check out our Patreon page. $1 a month goes a long way, but $5, which is only 17 cents a day, gives you access to all kinds of awesome exclusive content, like commentaries, bonus podcasts, and a few other things that I can't think of off the top of my head, like a t-shirt at the highest tier, and much more. But if you can't afford it, that's fine. Just get involved with us on social media. We got a really awesome Facebook group. You'll make a lot of friends, and you'll have a lot of fun. So if that seems like something that will interest you, get involved with our community. It's an awesome place to be. But I'll be back next time with more. I really want to talk about this Rian Johnson situation because there's been a lot of Star Wars news that's been coming out that we haven't had a chance to talk about because of the Captain Marvel hubbub, as well as a couple other things that I have to keep working on behind the scenes. And I have some big news to announce on the High Council, which will be a lot of fun for everyone that likes one of the staples, one of the pillars of world-class bullshitters. So while you wait, folks, go check out our other videos, and as always, be excellent to each other.